Hello, I'm Dr. Bruce Huhmann. I'm professor and chair of marketing at Virginia Commonwealth University. Before joining VCU, I was the director of a business ethics, education, and outreach initiative at New Mexico State University and worked closely with business and governmental ethics groups and our tribal and Pueblo peoples on improving organizational ethics and practices. Today, we will discuss sustainability in marketing. We will first define sustainable marketing and discuss its importance. Later, we'll go over 5 principles of sustainable marketing, and we'll also examine 2 consumer actions that aim to promote sustainable marketing: consumerism and environmentalism. We will define the terms consumerism and environmentalism, and then explain their impact on marketing strategies. Sustainable marketing calls for meeting the present needs of consumers and businesses while preserving or enhancing the ability of future generations to meet their needs. Whereas the marketing concept recognizes that companies thrive by fulfilling the day-to-day needs of customers, sustainable marketing calls for socially and environmentally responsible actions that meet both the immediate and future needs of customers and the company. Truly sustainable marketing requires a smooth functioning marketing system in which consumers, companies, public policymakers, and others work together to ensure responsible marketing actions. Sustainability sometimes is bad-mouthed by those who think it just means tree hugging or who are short-term thinkers. But a study by McKinsey Management Consulting Company called The Business of Sustainability shows that switching to more sustainable marketing in terms of products, promotion, and distribution typically reduces operating cost through improved management of natural resources, which lowers both energy use and waste. Sustainability also leads to better risk management, which encourages companies to detect key risk of operational disruptions from climate change, community issues, or resource scarcity. Also, employees and consumers want to support businesses that are doing the right thing. So sustainable marketing practices allow companies to improve employee retention and customer loyalty. All of this leads to a better annual ROI, or return on investment. In fact, a report by CDL Company found that S&P 500 companies that incorporated sustainability into their strategy perform better than those that don't. Companies practicing sustainability see an 18% higher ROI. And these benefits continue to accumulate over the long run, too. As a business that builds sustainability into its marketing strategy will be able to continue operations, whereas short-term focused businesses will run out of resources or find that they're left behind by ongoing changes in the marketing environment. So sustainability aids the long-term viability of a marketer's business model. Although this is valuable for marketers to develop long-term thinking about the sustainability of their business, it can be a challenge. As William Opus pointed out in his book Immoderate Greatness: Why Civilizations Fail, the leading cause of collapse for a civilization is resource exhaustion. This happens because humans tend to ignore long-term consequences and fail to understand exponential growth. The chart on this slide shows what exponential growth looks like. Politicians, economists, and management often set goals for growth. For example, say management sets a 5% goal for growth in monthly sales. The company's sales force currently sells 100,000 board feet of lumber each month. 5% growth would mean that next month the sales force needs to sell 105,000 board feet, which seems doable. But because it is an exponential growth goal, the third month sales objective is to sell 5% more than 105,000 board feet. In a little more than a year, or 14 months, sales of board feet would need to be double what they were at first. And in 5 years, the sales force would have to sell 1,868,000 board feet of lumber a month, an increase of more than 18 times. In 100 months, the sales force would need to sell 13,150,000 board feet a month. That means in a little over 8 years, the objective for the sales force will be 130 times what it is now. Then think about where 130 times more lumber is going to come from. That means 130 times more trees are going to need to be cut down that month. Now multiply that across the whole economy. If politicians or economists say that we should try to have 5% annual GDP growth a year for the United States or globally, then in 14 years, the GDP will need to be double what it is right now. And we're going to need twice as many resources. And in a century, it'll be 132 times what it is right now. But that means we're going to need 132 times more resources than we do now. That means 132 times more lumber, more metal, more agricultural commodities, more fossil fuels, more solar and nuclear energy, more everything. While advancing technology can help us find some more resources to some extent, it cannot meet the ever-increasing demands of exponential growth. Once growing demand outstrips a civilization's resources, then the civilization collapses. So the goal must be reasonable growth. If growth is limited, then the collapse of a civilization can be delayed indefinitely, and advancing technology can create a better life for more people. Thus, sustainable marketing is not some radical environmentalist idea, but it is good business because it can conserve our civilization, our economy, and the long-term viability of our businesses. Concerns about the marketing system have led to citizen action movements. Consumerism is an organized social movement that is intended to strengthen the rights and power of consumers relative to sellers. Smart marketers view this as an opportunity to better serve consumers by providing more consumer information, education, and protection. Environmentalism is an organized social movement seeking to minimize the harm done to the environment and quality of life by marketing practices. Most companies now accept responsibility for doing no environmental harm, and they're adopting policies of environmental sustainability, developing strategies that both sustain the environment and produce profits for the company. Both consumerism and environmentalism are important components of sustainable marketing. Consumerism looks to balance sellers' rights and customers' rights. Traditional sellers' rights include the following: the right to introduce any product in any size and style. Now, all rights should be linked with some specific responsibilities. With the right to introduce any product comes the following responsibility that sellers must also meet. The product that sellers introduced must not be hazardous to personal health or safety, or if it is, it must include appropriate warnings and controls. Sellers also have the right to charge any price for the product. With this price-setting right comes the seller's responsibility to ensure that no discrimination in prices charged exist among similar kinds of buyers. Remember the discussion of price discrimination when pricing was covered. Number 3, the right to spend any amount to promote the product. And with this right comes the responsibility that the seller's promotion not be a form of unfair competition. Number 4, the right to use any product message. With the right to use any message comes the responsibility that the seller's message not be misleading or dishonest in content or execution. 5, the right to use buying incentive programs. The seller's right to provide incentives to encourage consumers to buy comes with the responsibility that these incentives not be unfair or misleading. Traditional buyers' rights include the right not to buy a product that is offered for sale, the right to expect the product to be safe, and the right to expect the product to perform as claimed. Comparing these rights, many believe that the balance of power lies on the seller's side. Consumerism developed to try to better balance the scales of power between sellers and buyers. Consumerism is an organized movement of citizens and government agencies to improve the rights and power of buyers in relationship to sellers. Consumer advocates call for additional consumer rights shown on this slide. Each proposed right has led to more specific proposals by advocates of consumerism and consumer protection actions by the government. For example, the right to be informed includes the right to know the true interest rate on a loan, such as truth in lending, the true cost per unit of a brand, such as unit pricing, the ingredients in a product, such as ingredient labeling, the nutritional value of foods, such as nutritional labeling, product freshness, such as open dating, and the true benefits of a product, such as truth in advertising. Proposals related to consumer protection include strengthening consumer rights in cases of business fraud and financial protection, requiring greater product safety, ensuring information privacy, and giving more power to government agencies. Proposals relating to quality of life include controlling the ingredients that go into certain products and packaging, and reducing the level of advertising noise. Proposals for preserving the world for future consumption include promoting the use of sustainable ingredients, recycling and reducing solid waste, and managing energy consumption. Sustainable marketing applies not only to businesses and governments, but also to consumers. Consumers not only have the right, but also the responsibility to protect themselves instead of leaving this function entirely to the government or someone else. Whereas consumerism considers whether the marketing system efficiently serves consumer wants, environmentalism is concerned with marketing's effect on the environment and the environmental cost of serving consumer needs and wants. Environmentalists are not against marketing and consumption. They simply want people and organizations to operate with more care for the environment. The road to well-being doesn't go via reduced consumption, says a sustainability advocate who is also CEO of Unilever. It has to be done via more responsible consumption. However, the marketing system's goal, environmentalists assert, should not be to maximize consumption, consumer choice, and consumer satisfaction, but rather to maximize life quality. Life quality means not only the quantity and quality of consumer goods and services, but also the quality of the environment now and for future generations. Companies are also adopting policies of environmental sustainability and taking action, not because someone is forcing them to or to reap short-term profits, but because it's the right thing to do, because it's for their customers, the company's well-being, and the planet's environmental future. For self-renewing natural resources such as timber, fresh water, fish, wildlife, etc., sustainable yield is harvesting or using only an amount that can be replenished within the same time period. This allows ongoing extraction that can be supported by the regenerative capacity of the underlying natural system. Pollution prevention means minimizing or eliminating waste before it's created. Companies emphasizing pollution prevention have responded with internal green marketing programs, such as designing and developing ecologically safer products, recyclable and biodegradable packaging, better pollution controls, and more energy-efficient operations. At the next level, companies can practice product stewardship. Product stewardship minimizes not only the pollution from production and product design, but also environmental impacts throughout the full product lifecycle, while at the same time reducing cost. Many companies are adopting design for environment or cradle-to-cradle practices. Design for environment improves product design to minimize health and environmental risk through improved technology and design tactics that consider a product's entire lifecycle to minimize resource use while still making products usable. In cradle-to-cradle design, all materials such as metals, fibers, dyes fall into one or two categories: technical or biological. Technical materials are non-toxic, non-harmful synthetic materials with no negative effects on the natural environment, and they can be used over and over again instead of downcycled into lesser products, ultimately becoming waste. Biological materials are organic materials that, once used, can be disposed of in any natural environment and will decompose into the soil, providing food for small life forms without affecting the natural environment. Both design for environment and cradle-to-cradle practices involve thinking ahead to design products that are easier to recover, reuse, recycle, or safely return to nature after usage, thus becoming part of the ecological cycle. Design for environment and cradle-to-cradle practices not only help sustain the environment, but they can also be highly profitable for the company. Now, at first, many companies opposed consumerism, environmentalism, and other elements of sustainable marketing. They thought the criticism of their commercial practices were either unfair or unimportant. But now, most companies have grown to embrace sustainability principles as a way to create both immediate and future value and strengthen customer relationships as well as reduce cost. Under the sustainable marketing concept, a company's marketing should support its best long-term performance. It should be guided by 5 sustainable marketing principles: market with ethics, be customer-centric, build long-term customer value, embrace a sense of mission marketing, and do no harm. Marketing with ethics builds stronger relationships with and the company's reputation in the eyes of consumers and other stakeholders such as employees. Being consumer-centric means viewing and organizing the company's marketing activities from the consumer's point of view. Consumer-oriented marketing should sense, serve, and satisfy the needs of a defined group of customers. Good marketing is an all-consuming passion for delivering superior value to carefully chosen consumers, the target market. 40% of consumers are purpose-driven and select products based on how well they align with their personal beliefs. This is an important target market for sustainable marketing. A company should put most of its marketing investments into activities that build long-term customer value. Many things marketers do, like one-shot sales promotions, cosmetic product changes, direct response advertising, may raise sales in the short run, but add less value than would actual improvements in the product's quality, features, or convenience. Consumer loyalty and relationships grow by continually improving the value that customers receive from the firm's marketing offerings. By creating long-term value for consumers, the company can capture value from consumers in return. Embracing a sense of mission helps employees feel better about their work and gives them a clearer sense of direction. But having a double bottom line of values and profits is hard. Over the years, companies respected for putting principles before profits have sometimes struggled with less than stellar financial returns. But in recent years, a new generation of social entrepreneurs has emerged. These new social entrepreneurs are well-trained business managers who know that to do good, they must first do well in terms of profitable business operations. Doing no harm means consciously avoiding harmful actions or omissions by embodying high ethical standards and adhering to all applicable laws and regulations. If nothing else, companies should minimize the undesirable impacts of their products and processes. In conclusion, sustainable marketing requires that marketing decisions should consider consumers' wants and long-term interest, the company's requirements for profitability, society's long-run interest, and the environmental impact on resources and communities to provide marketers with ongoing viability. Well, that wraps up our discussion of sustainable marketing. If you would like to learn more, the topic of sustainability is also covered in the course Responsible Supply Chains, as well as Marketing 222, the Marketing and Society course.